What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to install a Racetech Gold Valve. I have a CR125 that I bought. It was seriously undersprung for me and my height, or my weight, and so I bought another gold valve. I've had these in all my bikes, swear by them. I'm a Racetech fan. If you're not, you should try them. If you've tried them and you're not, well, you're an idiot. What does it come with? All the hardware you need. The nuts, capture washers, new band, shims. Now, it's important to note that these shim numbers mean absolutely nothing. It does not correspond to anything in the directions. Don't know what they are or what they're for, but there's explicit instructions that say that they do not belong in the instructions, or they don't belong to the instructions. And the gold valve, the brains of the system. Now, when you order the Racetech system, you have I'm going to cover it up here, access code. It's under my finger. You go on their website. It gives you access to their, they call it digital valving system, or it builds your shim stacks for you. It tells you what ones to use. It comes with complete instructions. You have everything that you need to build your suspension. We're going to install this on a CR125, like I said, an 01 CR125. I also bought the rebound separator valve. Pretty cool little item there. And we will go from there. Alright, fellers, so here's the deal. Take the shock all apart, watch my video on how to do that. It'll be forthcoming. If the shock has never been taken apart before, then this nut will be pinged on there. So you're going to have to take a grinder of some kind and grind the edges of this nut down. I have one here that I did on another shock. And that's what it'll end up looking like. Okay. After the peening is ground off, you don't want to grind too much, but after it's ground off, take a torch and heat up around here because there will be Loctite in there. And then once you have done that, I use an impact gun. Hit the nut, a quick zap, and it should break free. How do you know when the Loctite is gone, when it's burned out? You'll see little puff of smoke come out the middle. So then just clean up this leftover Loctite. I have just a little bit in here. Nothing too bad at all. Okay, I have the compression stack built. It consists of the high-speed compression, crossover, the low-speed compression, and then the piston. It's important to note that the piston goes one direction. The large ports go to the bottom, just like that. In order to build your stacks, Racetech gives you the valving codes. You simply look on your sheet, you find the code, and then it lists all the shims that you need underneath. In my case, I had 3 codes: the high-speed, crossover, and low-speed compression. You start at the bottom and work your way to the top. So if you're looking at it like this, the first shim to go on is the very bottom one listed, and then you work your way up. Get to the crossover, put the crossover in, get to the low speed, put the low speed on. For the piston, your application may call for a bleed hole to be drilled. It's kind of pre-drilled halfway through there. Mine does not need that, so my valve is going straight on. This is an O-ring. I believe they call it an energizer band or something. It goes over the piston and down into the groove that you can see down at the bottom, or right in the middle of the piston. And of course, it's not going to go on for me all that well because it's on camera. What that does is it keeps this piston band pushed out. So we're not going to put this on until we get to the install stage because it overlaps and it has to be held in. Okay, I have both the compression and the rebound stacks built now. I have the piston installed in the right direction. The next step is pretty important. You can see all this dead space right here from the last shim up to this shoulder. So that space has to be shimmed. I say shimmed, I mean has to be taken up so that when we put our rebound adjuster or rebound separator valve on top here, it has something to clamp against. If we put it on right now, you can see we've got all this movement right here. It would not clamp. So Racetech recommends a couple different methods. You can use shims that are larger diameter than the last shim on here. If we used smaller diameter, then that would change the valving. So it has to be larger diameter. Okay, I drilled out the bleed hole to the recommended size for this rebound separator valve. The next step is to ensure that we can thread this on by hand. Makes contacts with the clamping here, which it does. Everything looks good. I have no burrs. It's all cleaned out. Then I need to Loctite this on and torque it to the specified value, which I think was 24 foot-pounds. Little red Loctite on here. Torque wrench set to 25 foot-pounds, which is what they call for. This is a 19mm socket. It's gonna be a little tricky here. My vise moves, so I'll have to move you with it. Perfect. Okay, we're now ready to reassemble the shock, and this is kind of a messy job, so have a lot of rags handy. Clean out the inside really well. I have taken the bladder out, which I didn't show you, but the bladder resides in the reservoir. It's pushed down in there. I use this valve core tool. I don't even remember why I bought it a long time ago, but I think it helps hold the tube out, you know, when you're trying to put the tire on. Anyways, I screw that into there and then pull this out. It comes out with kind of a lot of force, so just have to be persistent and careful with it. It's held in by a circlip. So you take the circlip out and then pull the bladder out and then clean everything really good. Inspect the bladder, make sure it's not cracked or holes or anything like that, and put that somewhere clean. Now what we're going to do is fill the reservoir and the shock body itself. We're going to fill this probably about halfway. The important thing is that when we put the reservoir or the bladder back in and we push it down, we want the fluid to come out the top. Hence why it's such a dirty job. You'll see fluid come spilling out the top. That's how I know there's no air in there. I hope you saw that. Just go slow so you don't make more of a mess than you have to. Okay, you can expose a groove when you push it down there far enough. Take your clean circlip. Put it into the groove. You're good. I'm not sure if you can see this. You probably can't. The bladder cap is recessed down in there. The circlip is above it, so the circlip's up here and the bladder cap is down here. I need to pump up a little air in the bladder down here so it pops it up against the circlip. Doesn't take much, probably 30 pounds. There you go. There, you see it pop up there. Make sure the piston band gets in there. You know you're doing it right if you're getting oil everywhere. Bring it up slowly. We don't want to break the seal. Otherwise, we've just introduced air into the system. Let's see it foaming there. It's all air that's getting bled out. We're going to do this a bunch of times until I don't have any more air coming out, and then after that we will top off the fluid, push the seal down in, and install the circlip. Okay, so the next step is to install the seal. I'm going to top off the fluid, drive the seal down in here. It will overflow, as it should. Now there's going to come a point where I can no longer push it in. Racetech does make a nice little tool for this. I don't have it, so I make do with what I have, which are my fingers. Okay, when it gets to the point where I can no longer push it in, I'm going to release the pressure on the bladder. Now I can push it in. I need to push past the circlip, which I am almost. Now I install the circlip and call the shock almost done. Still need to put nitrogen in it, which I have to go to a shop for because I don't have a nitrogen tank. Circlip just goes in here. You want to be real careful not to touch and scratch the shaft. Otherwise you are buying a new shock shaft. There we have it. And you get nitrogen from the shop. Clean this all up. Feels good. This cover is going to get just hammered back into place. You want the holes in line with the bike so that as it sits on the bike, the water will drain out the bottom. That's very common sense. Cool. Let you know.